Remember when Skeleton Crew, the Star Wars show, was supposed to come out last year on Disney Plus? WDW Pro Farms does. Remember when The Acolyte was just a sizzle reel, never to come out? WDW Pro Farms does. Folks, we're going to explain to you why The Acolyte is coming out this summer and Skeleton Crew is yet to be seen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the channel that is changing Hollywood one video at a time, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, and giving the mainstream journalists their notes for tomorrow. It is time now to dive into what is going on with The Acolyte, because there is something here of a budgetary nature which should be brought to all of your eyes and attention. So folks, lend me your ears. Let's bring on the panel and let's find out what strange things are going on behind the scenes over at Disney Plus. Jonas, can you walk us through, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but I think you'll knock it out of the park, talking about Grand Slams. Can you walk the audience through why we believe that The Acolyte has been pushed to the summer for this summer's release? It has nothing to do with it being a sizzle reel, by the way. It's not a temperature reference, but can you tell the folks out there why we believe this was pushed to the summer and why Skeleton Crew has been pushed back?
Well, which update to this story do we want to go with? The first of all of these is the fact that while Disney has a content drought resulting from last year's extended multiple strikes, and perhaps even more coming on the horizon here, maybe August 1st, stay tuned for that. They would have nothing to release in 2025 on Disney Plus if it weren't for this series and a handful of other things. The Skeleton Crew, we suspect that Skeleton Crew is the more expensive series and got pushed to after, say, October 1st, because that's going to be the more expensive show, and therefore it'll have to hit the books after the fiscal year turns over for the Walt Disney Company, because there's a huge deadline coming for the Walt Disney Company at the end of September, otherwise known as the day before October 1st, where they have to have Disney Plus profitable. By the way that they're doing that is twofold. One, by incorporating Hulu as quickly as possible. That's being held up by some backdoor negotiations between Brian Roberts, not a fan of Bob Iger. Can't get too deep into that, but also the fact that they are pulling everything they can off of the Disney Plus books in order to shift it into next year. I don't think they have an option with The Acolyte. They can't push everything after October 1st.
Now, one of the interesting things about The Acolyte and its budget is that we had heard, and this has been reported across various articles, that The Acolyte came with a $50 million plus pre-production, which means it was already expensive. We've also heard that the Skeleton Crew is something like $136 million production budget, which means that the actual production budget for The Acolyte may be smaller than we had anticipated. So there is that. Perhaps Disney looked at this and said, look, we got to reduce it. And then in terms of what goes out and when, it seems like it's solely based on, although we can't confirm this exactly, but it seems like that it's based on how in the world they can prove that Disney Plus made at least a penny in profit by the end of this fiscal quarter, quarter four for this year.
Well, right. They have two options there. And one of them is to actually bring in subscribers. That's not working for them. They've lost 1.3 million in the last quarter. They're going to bring in 7 million. And they're doing that by giving Disney Plus, quote unquote, for free to Charter Spectrum cable subscribers. They're going to take some of the profit from that, or what they would make off of that deal, and section it off and say that that is Disney Plus profit. But even if that doesn't quite work, they're going to shift as much. They have the freedom to report these things wherever they want because they have multiple avenues. They could put it on TV and say it's a TV expense, linear TV. They could release it in theaters and say it's a theater expense. So they will make Disney Plus profitable, just maybe not by making any money.
Well, it brings to mind a couple things. When you talked about that huge pre-production budget of 50 million, how much of that is recompense for all that? I was thinking of you all along and doing artwork, all of supposedly on spec. If it goes back that far, that could cover a lot of that money. Uh, the second thing is, I have no idea how the accounting works as far as when Disney Plus has to put this on their books. Is it while they're producing it? Is it while they're spending money on it? Or is it only when it's done and you then say, yeah, that was for us?
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper, Lou.
And we can
I
never
want
say
to be
for sure, but there is most likely a production loan that was secured from a UK entity that they won't have to do anything more than interest payments on until it hits the actual.
Which is June 5th when the Blue Stockings production thing hits the airwaves. I think.
I want to be a little careful here because Lou, we're gonna have lots of viewers out there who understand exactly what you're talking about when you say that Leslie Headland doesn't work for Spec, and when we're talking about going back these years and that she was developing this project for 3 years or whatever, and it's distinctly Star Wars. Can you tell us what are you talking about when you say that Leslie Headland doesn't work for Spec, and what are you insinuating?
Look, a Spec script is you and me in our garage have this great idea, and I am not saying this to negate anybody who often in these chats says, I've got a way to fix Star Wars, they should do a movie about, but nobody's paying you to come up with that idea yet. And you sit down and write it, and nobody's paying you to come up with that idea yet. And then you start shopping it around, and you're still not getting paid till somebody says, yeah, that's good, I'll pay you money for it. That's what means spec. Spec means speculation, on the hope, on the if come, as they say in Vegas, that maybe we'll make some money on it. But when you do, and you say, if you have the right connections, yeah, well, I've been working on this for 1.5 years. Don't I get something for all that time and effort put in? If you're connected right, yeah. And that would technically be pre-production. So that's what I'm saying, is that it would explain this. I mean, when she says she literally had graphics and storyboards with this woman's face in them, somebody had to draw that. Somebody had to be doing it. And, you know.
And that was before artificial intelligence as well.
Oh, that's right. There was no machine to generate that stuff.
Yeah, this is a fascinating idea to me. The idea of a Star Wars project being beholden to a single actor, a not that well-known actor, too. No insult to Miss Amandla and the extra consonant in her name, but
which would make no sense, Jonas, if you presume that somebody brings to the project a following and a calling and some experience, and that matters. But if all that matters is their sexual identity and their attitude and their ethnic identity, then not so much.
Let me see if I can surmise this, though. Let me see if I can summarize it. Not surmise, but summarize. What we're reading is that apparently Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, was writing fan stories in the Star Wars universe for 3 years, starring her favorite young non-actress / actor / whatever we want to call this, anyway. And that,
Mandela.
Yes, and then it somehow, some way, the fan fiction that she was writing with this particular individual all came to be approved at the same time under Kathleen Kennedy, that Disney was not approving anything for any reason because it was the pandemic and nobody knew what to do. And we're saying as a panel that we don't believe that all of that lines up and that Leslie Headland wasn't doing this for free. We just don't know exactly what to believe quite yet, but we're not believing this as a whole package. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right.
I believe what Amandla said. I think that this all came about probably in 2016, 2017. And she probably was. I actually believe her. I think she was chosen by Leslie Headland, and this was all done as part of Disney's Reimagine Tomorrow. And
you think Kathleen Kennedy was in talks with Leslie Headland much earlier than what we've known?
What?
Yeah, 100%.
What? I guess the biggest question, and this is the last thing I'll say on the matter: what would be her motivation to lie?
I don't see a motivation here. I don't see a motivation for this anecdote to be falsified.
Well, it lines up with what Disney's been doing with the Reimagine Tomorrow stuff. It lines up exactly what Kathleen Kennedy said in 2015 with Fortune magazine, how she was going to be embracing feminism, and they've just moved into an intersectional feminism.
Well, the only reason to lie is if somebody says, hey, Headland, weren't you involved in this Weinstein thing? Well, yeah, I worked for him, but meanwhile, I was working on this Star Wars project, see?
Right. And folks, it is a wrap for today, but not forever. No, we will be back real soon with more content 3 times a day, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern each and every single day. Don't forget to check out our website, www.thatparkplace.com. Bookmark it for all the latest entertainment articles that you want to read. And folks, we will be seeing you real soon. But until then, help us out. Help us keep the lights on by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And as we always say, as we end these, because we really do mean it and we really do care, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.